Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jordan and this is the start of another Booktube Friends Recommend video. Obviously got my daughter Krissa here. Can you say hi?
Hi.
It is a Wednesday morning. It's before I bring my two kids to daycare and everything. We're just getting the day started, but I wanted to get this video started so I can start reading today. So what am I gonna read? This is another Booktube Friends Recommend video. Last time I did this, it was probably almost a year ago. I did it with my friends Sam and Gavin. I haven't watched that one in quite a while, so I'm not sure if I would recommend you go back and watch it. But this time I'm gonna be doing it with my Booktube besties, Gwen and Jessie. If you are not already familiar with their channels, I will link them down below. They are two of my best friends in this community, and I highly recommend their content, and I'm very excited to try out their recommendations. So first we're gonna start with Gwen. Gwen, of course, has her own channel, but she also hosts a bookish podcast called Talk Bookish to Me, and you can also join a Patreon for her podcast to get more like behind the scenes. Okay. To get more like behind the scenes content, wrap up podcasts, extra episodes, everything like that. And she also does personalized book recommendations as part of her Patreon. So she will go on your Goodreads, look at what you have read and unread and liked and disliked, and recommend some books. So she recommended me two sci-fi books, which I am very excited about because sci-fi is something I'm trying to get more into this year. I've really enjoyed the sci-fi I've read, but I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface of all the sci-fi that's out there. So I'm trying to hone in my taste a little bit more. And I'm very excited to try doing that with these recommendations. So the first one she recommended is Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro, and this is a sci-fi book about a world where artificial friends have been developed, and I think people will like go shopping for artificial friends to bring home. It's like artificial intelligence and a friend in case you're lonely, I guess. And we're following one of those artificial friends as she's hoping to get purchased, and I'm guessing we follow her maybe once she does, and how that relationship goes. So I'm very curious about this one. My friend Catherine has read this book, and she said to go in expecting like a slower, I should actually look at exactly what she said. Great. Yes, she said it's very contemplative, not action-packed, a little bit different. So I'm glad to know that going in, that it's not gonna be like a thriller sci-fi or anything like that. It's gonna be, that's very cool, babe. I think if I go in with those expectations that it's gonna be a little bit slower and more character driven, I have a better chance of enjoying it. And I also believe Gwen is going to be reading this book this month, and I also have a good friend and neighbor who's reading this book right now. So I'm really excited not only to read this book, but to be able to discuss it with the people around me. And then the second book that Gwen recommended to me is called Rabbits by Terry Miles. And this is a book about like a sci-fi alternate reality video game, if I remember it correctly. A deadly underground game might just be altering reality itself in this all new adventure set in the world of the hit Rabbits podcast. I love books that have to do with video games or alternate reality games, virtual reality games. Slay and Ready Player One are two of my favorite books. I also really enjoyed An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, which has kind of a game element, so I really think I'm gonna enjoy this one as well. Very excited to get to it. And then Jessie. Jessie's my friend from her channel Reading with Jess. I will actually already be reading another book with her this month, The Good Samaritan, for her Sleep When I'm Dead book club. But when I was planning out this video, I knew I still wanted to try some recommendations by her. This is gonna be a little bit different because these are not recommendations that she's given to me personally, but these are books that she loves and kind of recommends to everyone. That is The Arrangement by Kirsten Modglen, and the sequel to that book, The Amendment. Are you coming back? I do not own these books, and I wasn't able to find them at my library, but I am able to get them on Hoopla, so I'm gonna listen to the audiobooks. They are very short, like 5.5 hours each, and if I listen to it on double speed, that's only like less than 3 hours of listening time. So I'm super excited to fly through them. I've heard that these books, I think they're domestic thrillers, which I'm a little nervous about, but I've heard that they are just twisty and they pack a huge punch for how short they are. So I'm kind of curious. I just want to know what the hype is all about. If I don't end up loving it, I will say, I'll give the disclaimer, Jessie did not personally recommend this to me, and I am known to not love domestic thrillers. So if I don't like it, it's not her fault. It's my fault. I did this to myself. But that is what I'm going to be reading for this video. 4 books should be pretty quick, I think, especially again with those 2 audiobooks. I will say that I have just barely started Clara and the Sun already. I started it last night. I got only 18 pages pages in, and we are just following this artificial friend as she's in the store. She's talking about like positioning within the store and where she's most likely to be purchased. Like you want to be in the front window or the front alcove. You don't want to be like in the back of the store. And it's very interesting to hear how the store manager moves them around. And then it also seems like sun is going to have a big part of it. I mean, obviously it's called Clara and the Sun, but it seems like these artificial friends get energy from sunlight, and if they don't get enough sunlight, that damages them or drains them or something like that. And so I'm sure that's going to come into play later as well. So that is it. I'm gonna get these kids off to daycare. I'm gonna get myself off to work, and I'm gonna read whenever I get the chance, and I will update you once I have an update on one of the books, once I have some feelings and opinions to share.
Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes, embrace the blast. Sleepless nights and headaches stack. Restlessness to hell and back. What's my purpose? What do I grab? A slippery surface, a heart attack. And sometimes you just gotta believe there's something that'll give you relief. There's something that'll have what you need. What you need.
All right, hey guys, it is later, same day, still Wednesday. I have some reading updates in 2 books actually. So the first is Clara and the Sun. I made it a little bit further, page 67. This one is getting going. It is definitely slower, and I knew that going in, so I'm trying to keep my expectations tempered a little bit and to know that it's going to be a real slow burn. I'm liking the perspective of the AI like person that we're following. She has a very interesting point of view because she is learning, she's like learning how to not really feel emotions, but how to like identify emotions and how to emulate them kind of in certain situations, which is interesting. We are getting to know the person that she is like becoming close to, that she is an artificial friend for. And so far I have no indication of where the plot is going. Like there's no goal, there's no end event that I can see in sight. So I guess we're just along for the ride of this duo's relationship and our artificial friend's life. There's maybe some hints of some potential sadness to come and hard times, so we will see. Still have quite a bit left in that to get to. And then today I also was able to make it through 60% of the arrangement, which, like I mentioned, it's like a 5.5 hour audiobook, so that's not that surprising considering like my 30-minute drive to and from work, plus when I want to I can take a lunch break and listen to a book for that whole hour. So I had quite a bit of listening time today, and this is a thriller about this married couple who decides to make an arrangement with each other that they once a week can see other people and have like physical intimate relationships. They just have some rules about what they can and can't tell each other, and I'm pleased to say that so far I'm enjoying it. I think that's for a couple of reasons, because like I said, I don't typically enjoy domestic thrillers, but usually one, that's because the couple is cheating on each other and lying to each other. This is sort of different because it is an arrangement, it's an agreement between the two of them. They made rules, and so they're not lying to each other. So it's not really bothering me as much that they're doing things with other people because that's their agreement. And then the second reason I think I'm enjoying it is because it does shift kind of quickly into not just a standard domestic thriller, or it just becomes a little bit more action-packed really quickly, which I was expecting because this book is so short and people have such good things to say. I figured the action was going to pick up pretty quickly, but it definitely is, and so I'm enjoying that action. Very curious to see what all else can be packed into the last 40%. So I will probably leave that for tomorrow to listen to the rest of that book. Tonight I'll read a little bit more of Clara and the Sun before bed, and next time I check in I probably will have finished at least one of these books.
We're broken, it's tragic, we're not all elastic, but maybe there's magic. Believe you could have it, and I know of sadness, the anxious and panic, the infinite vastness of all that is blackness.
Hello you guys, update time. It is I think like 24 hours since I last updated you, it's Thursday night. You can probably hear the shower running in the background because I turned on the shower and then realized I have to film an update. I've done some more reading already today and I have a lot of thoughts. First of all, on my drive home after work today, I finished The Arrangement. And I mean, for a domestic thriller, I thought it was pretty good. It definitely did have its moments throughout it where it was like typical domestic thriller, over the top, things between the couple that I just don't like reading about. But when people say that this book has twists, they're not wrong. Definitely twists that I didn't see coming. And I loved how short it was because things just kept moving. And I love that in thrillers, I was not bored in the slightest. And so even though I don't feel like it's the perfect thriller for me, I definitely don't feel like I wasted any time reading it because it was so short, so action-packed, and I can respect what the author did. So I think I'm gonna give that one 4 stars. And I will say that I'm pretty interested in picking up the second book. I haven't heard a lot about the sequel. I think I've heard a couple people say they didn't like it quite as much as the first book, so I'm expecting it to be maybe a little bit less twisty, but it is like equally as short. So I'm expecting to fly through that within the next couple days as well, and I'm kind of excited for it. What a pleasant surprise. I don't know if I ever thought I'd see the day where I enjoyed another domestic thriller. Oh, and one other thing I did want to say about that book is that when I was reading it, to me it felt like a normal domestic thriller, but mixed with a little bit of Finlay Donovan is killing it. That's just the vibes I got, and I really liked that book. So I liked that kind of addition. So that was a fun one, and I'm excited to get to the second one. I also have updates on Clara and the Sun, which I read a bit more last night, and then I've just been reading a little bit now. I am on page 127, and around the 100 page mark, something started happening that made me go like, maybe there's something else here. Like, we haven't quite hit a twist, but it's been made clear that something else is going on. Something like deeper than just the superficial storyline here. So I'm very curious to figure out what the situation is and to figure out what some family history is gonna come out and what that all means. I still don't know what we're aiming for here. I don't know what the trajectory of the book is gonna be because there's still no end goal that I can see. We're just following, we're just along for the ride. And so far, despite the slow overall pace of the book, it's reading pretty quickly. So I am again hoping I can knock out some pages before I go to sleep tonight, and we'll hopefully finish it within the next day or two. But so far, so good with that book too. So we are off to a good start for sure in this video. Hi, it's the next day. It's Friday morning. I am working from home today for a few different reasons. I don't have a reading update at the moment because it hasn't been that long since my last one, but I do have kind of a fun other plans update. This morning I was scrolling Facebook, as I do, because my kids decided to wake up at 4:50 a.m., which was really fun. And I saw that a local bookstore is having a big sale. Well, they're having a buy 10 used books, get 10 used books for free, which, like, I don't need 20 new books, but it's at least intriguing enough that I feel like I should go to the store and just see what they have, see what calls to me. So I think I'm gonna do that. And then also I remembered that my library is having a library sale today, which is never a bad idea to go to because it's free admission, and then the books are really, really cheap because they're old library copies, so they're obviously used too. So I feel like I'm gonna go on a little book shopping adventure. I'm a little conflicted about it because I only have 10 books on my own TBR right now, so part of me wants to like read all of those and get to 0 unread books, but the other part of me likes having like 20 to 25 books to choose from at any given time. That's kind of my comfort zone, so that part of me is like, go on a book shopping spree. So it is 9:45 a.m. right now. I have a 10 o'clock meeting, so I'm gonna call into that, and then I was thinking after that I could take like my lunch break and go on a little book shopping adventure. I'm not going in expecting to buy 20 books at the one store and a whole bunch of library books, but if something calls to me, maybe I'll buy it. So that's the plan. And then this afternoon, of course, I'll come back and do some more work. I've got to pick my son up early this afternoon, but it's fine because I stayed late at work yesterday until like 7:30 p.m. So I definitely made up those hours already. So it's gonna be a good day. TGIF, hope you're having a good Friday, and I'm looking forward to a fun weekend of reading. And I haven't even looked at what the weather's gonna be like, but I guess I'm somewhat hopeful that maybe it'll be halfway decent enough to go outside. Let's check. Tomorrow is gonna be cold, like 34 degrees, but Sunday is gonna be nice, high of 57. So perhaps on Sunday we'll do fun stuff as a family and like go for a walk or go to the park or something. Okay, I'm rambling now. I have to sign on to this meeting, and then I will be back with some book shopping footage and potentially a haul, depending on how many books I end up buying.
You gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love and excel, yeah. Push and pull and repel any hate, go create what you want, feel compelled, yeah. And once you finally get a taste of the race, you'll never look back once you felt that. Don't let somebody take your time and your worth, just focus on yourself first. Don't let somebody take your time and your worth, just focus on yourself first. Don't let somebody take your time and your worth, just focus on yourself first. Don't let somebody take your time and your worth, just focus on yourself first.
Okay, good news and bad news. The bad news is the library sale was a bust. I did not find a single book there that I wanted to buy, even for $1. I didn't see anything that I really even recognized, let alone wanted to read. So that was unfortunate. I did see a couple books that I have already read, and if I enjoyed them, I already own them, like Ruth Ware books and Behind Her Eyes. So I hope that somebody finds those and picks them up if they are interested, but there was nothing for me there. But the good news is that the other bookstore was a success, and I bought 20 books. Like I mentioned, the deal was buy 10 books, get 10 free. And the advertisement said buy 10 used books, get 10 used books free. But when I was in the store, they said that you could buy up to 10 new books if you wanted to. And that's definitely what made it worth it to me. I don't think I could have found 20 used books that I wanted that badly, but there were some new books. So I got 10 new books, I got 10 used books. I'm pretty happy with all of them. My total ended up being $166. So for 20 books, that's like a little over $8 per book, which is definitely not like dirt cheap. It's not library sale cheap. But again, half of them are in brand new condition, and I would say that's still cheaper than Amazon for most books. So I'll consider it a win. I'm gonna do a full haul in a separate video just because I don't want to take up 20 minutes of this vlog to haul all the books that I got. So look out for that on my channel in the very near future. So that was book shopping. I also did listen to the amendment as I was driving the whole time, and I got through 41% of the book. So almost halfway. I didn't realize I was that far. This book is okay so far. So we're following the same couple as in the first book, and we're getting more background information about them as a couple, and even as people. We're learning more about each of their like experiences growing up and what made them into who they are, because there definitely wasn't time for that in the first book. Obviously it was so action-packed and so short. There really wasn't much like character development, so we're getting more of that in the second book. It's not exactly thrilling, so that's obviously the trade-off of spending time on character backstories, is it's not as entertaining and action-packed, but I think it's probably necessary at this point. So I get it, I'm liking it, I'm not like obsessed with it at this point, but I'm hoping the rest of it is good. It's easy enough to listen to, so I will definitely be finishing it here in the near future, and we'll give you an update. Other than that, I need to get back to work for a little bit, for a couple hours, until I go pick up my son and we do whatever it is we're gonna do for the rest of this Friday evening.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright. And for the first time in a long time, I'm alright.
Hello you guys, it is Saturday night. It is not even 9 p.m. and I am going to bed. It has been the longest Saturday that we've had in a long time. Just the kids were up so early and it was cold outside, like less than 30 degrees, so we had to stay inside. We didn't get to like go out and release some energy, so the kids are feeling pretty cooped up and they took it out on us a little bit. So my husband and I are very tired, so I am going to be going to bed shortly. I did just want to update because I did finish the amendment. Actually, I don't have a ton of thoughts on it, again because it's so short and it's a sequel. It's really hard to speak in specifics about the book, but in general I'll say I did enjoy it, again as much as I think I can enjoy a domestic thriller. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as the first book, but it was okay. All of that background information that I was talking about the couple, I think was necessary, just wasn't super entertaining. And then I did like the ending generally, so I'm gonna give that one 3 stars and say that it was pretty solid in my opinion. And if you do like domestic thrillers, then this series of 2 books is definitely worth picking up. I want so bad to stay up and finish Clara and the Sun. I'm on page like 215 and so I have less than 100 pages left. I just can't do it. I've gotten to kind of the reveal, or like the what's really happening part of the book, and I'm really interested and I want to make sure I read the rest of the book in like not a super tired headspace. I want to be able to like understand and remember it, and that doesn't always happen when I read late at night when I'm like falling asleep. So I'm just gonna go to bed and I will probably plan to finish this book tomorrow. Hopefully we will be going over to my parents' house tomorrow and doing some family time, so I won't be able to read a ton, but less than 100 pages I'm hoping I can find time to knock out. So that is the plan. I want to go to bed. Wild Saturday night, but this is life.
A lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.
Alrighty, you guys, it is the next day, Monday afternoon. I just picked up the kids, got one of them right here. You see yourself? Say hi.
Hi.
She's a little hangry, so hopefully you don't hear too much crying in the background. My other one is crawling around somewhere. Had to check in because last night I did finish Clara and the Sun and I was in bed. It was dark. I didn't want to update at the time. I also kind of wanted to let my thoughts ruminate for a little bit because I wasn't sure how I felt about this. On the one hand, I think it is what it is and it's not fair for me to like want it to be a different type of book because I was warned that this was going to be a slow-paced story. Very character driven, very contemplative is what I was told, and that is what it is. And I think for the most part I went in with the right expectations because I wasn't expecting it to be this high action sci-fi like adventure story, but I still didn't love it. And so I don't think it's because it was the wrong expectations. I think it was just because it wasn't quite the sci-fi that I enjoy. I think I, for the most part, am drawn to more plot-driven, more fast-paced sci-fi stories. However, I did like the general premise of this. I liked the idea of a world where people are buying artificial friends. It's interesting in this story that it's primarily a thing for children, whereas I could also see a world where adults do that and would choose that as like their companion instead of like a human companion. So I find that concept really interesting and I liked how it was explored. There was, I don't know if it was more of a twist or like a reveal, but I also liked that aspect of the story. I just didn't love how it all came together. I wish there was more shock factor to it or something like that, or it culminated in more of like a climax for the book or something. But again, I think all of that is me and my tastes for books and not necessarily whether or not this is a good book and did it well. So with that, I think I'm gonna rate this 3 stars, and that feels a little low or a little harsh. I really enjoyed reading 5-star reviews of this book actually. I like hearing people talk about it who really loved it, and I hope that I'm describing it well enough that the people that would enjoy this know that and will pick it up. It just wasn't perfect for me. I just didn't love it, but that is okay. I'm very glad I read it. Hi, sweetie. And I'm really glad that I have people to discuss it with because I do think it's a really great discussion book. So with that, hi sweetie, I am on to my last book for this video. I'm gonna read Rabbits next. I'm gonna start it tonight after the kids go to bed, and I'm really excited for it. I think this one will be maybe a little bit more fast-paced, so I'm hoping it's my perfect sci-fi book. I've so far had 2 3 stars and a 4-star, I think, for this video, so moderately successful so far, but I would love to have a 5-star to round out the video. So we will see if that happens. I'll check in when I'm at a good point in the story and can tell you a little bit more about the plot and everything. But for now, I gotta get back to mom life. So I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Hi, Mama.
Hi, big girl. Can you say hi, friends?
Hi, friends.
Say hi, my name is Krista.
Hi, my name is Trisha.
How old are you?
2.
2. Why are you always eating when you're on the camera? Do you eat a lot of snacks? You eat a lot of snacks, huh? Do you like crackers? No, you don't? Yes, you, okay, keep it in your mouth.
I like T-shirts.
You like Cheez-Its? Oh, okay. All right, say bye, friends.
Bye, friends.
Hi, guys. It's the next day. What is it? Tuesday morning. My kids, you can probably hear crying in the background. We are just about to leave for daycare and work. I wanted to check in, though, because I got 94 pages into Rabbits last night, and you guys, I am obsessed. I am loving this book. So far, it's very Ready Player One. You want to give it to him, please?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You want to come up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to.
Okay, come up here.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so far the book is very Ready Player One. It is game centered, but Rabbits is a lot darker than Ready Player One was, and it's adult. So if you liked Ready Player One but wanted more like adult, not that there's like explicit content or anything in here so far, but there's more at stake. People have died so far playing this game, and the difference is this is not a video game. So Rabbits is like a real life game where people are trying to find connections or discrepancies in real life that basically lead them, you know, lead you clue to clue to clue, and then every round there is a winner. So whoever finishes it first. I don't really know what that means still, but I'm just really enjoying it. I always love games and books, but this is like next level because it's ingrained in real life and people aren't really sure what's part of the game and what isn't part of the game. I'm very, very intrigued and really excited to continue reading.
Mama.
Hi, sweetie. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these kids off to daycare, get myself to work, do the work day, and then I will get to read more tonight. And I mean, this is the type of book that I would stay up late to finish. So we will see how quickly I get through it, and hopefully my thoughts stay as good as they are right now. I hope the rest of the book continues on in the direction that it's going because I am absolutely loving it.
I'm not falling. I'll push all my chips and call all in. I'll bet on myself, you keep stalling. I hear destiny and it's calling. I'll keep my head up high through the downs and lows, and we're all going live. Still nobody knows, but I'ma choose.
Okay, you guys, it's time. I have finished Rabbits, and I am so excited to tell you all of my thoughts. It has been several days since I last checked in. That's because I wanted to savor this book and take my time with it and make sure that the time that I was spending reading it, I was like really focusing. So I took maybe an extra day or 2 to finish it than I would normally for a book. And I also wanted to make sure I had interrupted quiet time to be able to spend time talking to you about this book. So I had to wait for a day and a time when my kids and husband weren't all, you know, being chaotic around me. So rabbits, oh my gosh. First of all, have you guys been in a situation before where you feel like you're in a slump, not necessarily like not reading or the quantity of books, but more like your ratings of books? Like you get in a funk where you feel like it's been forever since you've read a 5-star book or you've had a book that you've just been absolutely obsessed with. Because I've been feeling that for the last couple months. I just feel like I haven't had a ton of 5-star books that I just have been raving about. And let me tell you how refreshing it was to get into this book and to just be obsessed with it, because that's what I was. For the first half of this book, I was convinced that this was going to be my new favorite book of all time. And I freaking love that feeling of like thinking about a book at all moments and just like wanting to spend all of your time reading it, you know what I mean? And that's just because the setup of this book is so cool. I think I already told you about the basic premise about we're following this main character and her group of friends that all play this game called Rabbits, and it's like a real world game where you look for discrepancies or patterns in your real life and you follow like clues in order to reach the end of the game, and the winners get like money prizes and fame, and it's just this really big deal to these characters. And I think that that premise is something that most people will hear and know right away if that's a book for them or if it's not. Like if you've liked similar books to this, like Ready Player One or An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, where people are following clues and solving puzzles in order to move further into like a game, then I think you'll like this. If you don't like that or that doesn't sound interesting to you, then I don't think you'll like this, because that's basically all it is we're following this character solving all of these clues. A couple of reasons why I think I liked it so much and why I thought it might even top some of those books that I've read in the past and loved is because this book feels higher stakes than any other book with this type of premise. It is very dark at times, like people are dying playing this game, and it really does feel like at any moment our main character or any of her friends could die because of the dangerous situations they're putting themselves in and because of the particular like plot within the game, within what's happening. It's just a very dark and high stakes feeling, and I really like that. I also really liked our main character. She is a person who has always loved like solving puzzles and playing games. She majored in game theory in college, which I think is so cool. I kind of wish I would have known that that was a thing that I could have studied, not necessarily to be my main like major and career, but I totally would have taken some game theory classes if I knew that was a thing. Maybe it's not actually a thing, but I feel like it is. And I really liked hearing our main character talk about that. Now, you may be able to tell that I'm talking about it like in the beginning. I was so excited and I was so obsessed with this book, and I'm kind of foreshadowing to it not quite living up to my expectations, which is unfortunately what happened. Some things about it fell apart for me at the end, and I'm so bummed about that, but at the same time I can appreciate like the rest of this book so much that I still love this book as a whole and would totally recommend it. But let me tell you why it fell off for me a little bit and is not my new all-time favorite book. First of all, it is over 400 pages long, and like I said, it's all about solving puzzles, puzzle after puzzle, problem after problem. And while I thought all of them were interesting and I was still invested the whole time, it did get a little bit long. I feel like a couple of the puzzles or the items could have been cut out or could have been simplified and shortened a little bit, and we still would have gotten the impact of what was going on. We just didn't need so many pages of that middle kind of fluff part, but I could have looked past that if the end was still amazing. I still could have given it 5 stars. Unfortunately, the final like explanation of what's really happening here and all of the like secrets we dig out about the game and all the history and stuff we eventually get at the end, and without spoiling too much of it, which I obviously don't want to do, I was hoping it would be a little bit more logic based and more clever and less like magical sci-fi. And this book does do the thing where it tries to explain what's going on and claim that it's science. In whatever world they're in, they're claiming that it's not magic, it's explained by like scientific principles. But even with that explanation, I just found it a little bit too much out of the realm of possibility to where, to me, it did feel magical. So that's all I'll say. It is still very scientific in general, so if you like science fiction that like explains the science as it goes along, I think you would enjoy this. But I guess I'm just gonna give that kind of disclaimer to the people who are like me and really love sci-fi but really don't like fantasy because you don't like things that seem magical, that unfortunately I think this toes the line and crosses over into that magical, almost fantastical realm in order to wrap up the book. So that is Rabbits. I'm honestly still gonna buy a copy because first of all, look at this cover. It's beautiful, and I seriously loved so much of this book so much that I would totally reread it again. And who knows, maybe the second time I would understand it a little bit better and it wouldn't feel as magical to me. I'm not sure, but I would be willing to do that in the future. So I'm gonna be buying a copy of that book someday, or putting it on my wish list maybe. But that is the end of this video, and I'm so happy with the results. I didn't have a 5-star unfortunately, but I did have 2 3 stars and 2 4 stars. Both of my friends gave me 1 of each. So in general, I feel like that's successful because I did generally enjoy every single book that I read and that they recommended. So Gwen and Jessie, you passed the test. I will continue to take your recommendations, so please continue recommending books to me. Please let me know if you have read any of these books before and what you thought. I think that all of these books actually have a really cool like discussion element to them, so I would love to hear your thoughts if you've read them before. But yeah, I'm kind of on a reading high now. I feel like I just want to like read more books. So that's a great feeling. It's like the opposite of a slump, which is a pretty great way to be coming out of a video. So, all right, I think that's enough rambling. This video is definitely longer than I thought it was going to be. So I'm going to cut it off here. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.
I've seen a lot of change, been through